There are video games that get censored for being violent, others for being explicit, and yet others for breaking more or less clear rules set by the platforms that host them. Horses was censored for a different reason, one much more uncomfortable, and that's why it drew so much attention. Not because it shows anything extreme, but because it tells a story that concerns all of us. Steam, Epic, and other stores decided not to distribute it, and beyond the official reasons, what's certain is that Horses quickly became a case. A title talked about more for what it represents than for what it is. And that's exactly why today I don't want to tell you whether Horses is a good game or a bad game, whether it works or not from a technical or gameplay perspective, but rather try to explain its allegorical meaning. Because Horses isn't really about horses. It isn't even really about a farm. It's about power, about society, about obedience, and above all, what Hannah Arendt called the banality of evil. The game tells the story of Anselmo, an ordinary young man, one of those who have nothing special, who are neither heroes nor openly evil. Anselmo accepts a temporary job for a limited period at a farm in the Italian countryside. From the very beginning, everything seems simple, almost reassuring. An isolated place, a clear routine, tasks to perform. There is no grand narrative introduction, no traumatic event marking a before and after. And it is precisely here that Horses begins to feel unsettling. Because evil in this game doesn't arrive in an explosion. It arrives as a matter of routine. When Anselmo arrives at the farm, he is confronted with a surreal scene. The farmer owns horses, but these horses are not really animals. They are people wearing horse masks, treated as if they were animals. They are guided, used, humiliated, as if they were beasts of burden. Yet no one in the game world seems to perceive this situation as abnormal. The farmer behaves as if everything were perfectly natural, and this is one of the most disturbing aspects of the experience, because Horses never yells at you that what you are seeing is wrong. It forces you to watch, while everyone pretends it is normal. At this point, it becomes clear that the heart of the game is not visual horror, but routine. Days repeat, actions are cyclical, tasks remain the same. Routine becomes a tool of control, because when something is repeated long enough, it ceases to appear as an exception and becomes the rule. This is how any effective system of power works. It doesn't need constant violence. It needs habit. Horses shows how normality is the perfect ground on which horror grows, because normality anesthetizes, silences questions, and reduces the ability to question what one is doing. And it is precisely through this routine that the game builds its discourse on dehumanization. The Horses are no longer people, because they are no longer recognized as such. They have no name, no voice, no will. They are bodies that serve a purpose. This step is crucial, because dehumanization never happens all at once. It is a gradual process. First, you stop calling someone a person. Then you stop listening to them. Finally, you stop feeling empathy for them. Horses does not show violence as a sudden act, but as the inevitable result of a system that has already decided who matters and who does not. At this point, the social allegory becomes clear. In Horses, there are winners and losers. The winners are those who hold power, who set the rules, who decide what is acceptable and what is not. They are often distant, almost invisible figures who rarely get their hands dirty directly. The losers, on the other hand, are those who suffer under the system, who are exploited, humiliated, reduced to tools. However, between these two extremes, there exists a third figure, and it is the most important, what I call the middle class, the cog. And this is where Anselmo comes in, and we come in. Anselmo is not the master, but he is not the horse either. He is the one who follows orders. He is the one who closes his eyes. He is the one who tells himself he has no choice, who must work, who must carry on, who must follow orders if he doesn't want to end up exactly like the losers. He is the one at risk, as a specific character in the game says. I hope you get the luck to live your entire life as a human being, as if to remind him that at the first mistake by the order follower, even he will be downgraded to horse. The middle class does not create the system, but it makes it possible. And this is precisely what Horses wants to show, that evil does not need openly wicked people to exist, but it needs ordinary people who follow instructions without asking too many questions. Here, the concept of the banality of evil becomes evident. In Horses, there is no spectacular sadism, no blatant cruelty. No one seems to take pleasure in causing suffering. Everything happens through procedures, orders, routine. Evil becomes administrative, everyday, almost invisible. And this is what makes it so frightening, because it is the same mechanism we find in real society. People doing their jobs, following the rules, executing orders, without questioning the consequences of what they are doing. At this point, Horses takes the most disturbing step, because it doesn't just depict this dynamic, it makes the player experience it directly. The game uses the very structure of a video game as a narrative tool. A video game, by definition, works through objectives, progression, completion. Horses doesn't ask you to be evil. It doesn't ask you to actively choose wrongdoing. It simply asks you to play. And to play means to participate. To participate means to accept the rules of the system. To accept them means to make it work. This feeling is further reinforced by the use of silence. Much of the experience is immersed in a heavy, suffocating silence, interrupted only by rare, deliberate sounds. This silence is not empty, but oppressive. It numbs the senses, makes everything feel more static, more inevitable. It is the silence of routine, the silence of habit, the silence of those who have stopped asking questions. In the end, Horses does not aim to scare you in the traditional sense. It does not want to make you jump out of your seat. It wants to make you feel uneasy, because it forces you to recognize yourself within a mechanism larger than yourself. It wants you to understand that evil does not need monsters, but ordinary people who continue to do what they are asked. And when, while playing, you realize that you are part of this mechanism, the question is no longer who the villain is, but how far we are willing to close our eyes in order not to become the losers ourselves. At the same time, however, the work concludes with a glimpse of light, with positivity. Anselmo, after various trials, manages to rebel against the system, save the losers, and punish the farmer, the winner, by setting the Horses free and becoming one of them himself. The work therefore shows that revolution is possible, difficult, but possible, achievable by those who are neither winners nor losers, who place ethics and morality above the survival instinct that drives them to accept the routine imposed by the winners themselves. If this video made you think about horses and its deeper meaning, make sure to leave a like to let me know, because it really helps the channel and allows me to keep creating content like this. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next videos, where we'll keep exploring games, creepy stories, and hidden meanings that no one else talks about. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you believe Anselmo is truly innocent in the end, or has he become part of this system too? I want to hear your opinions and discuss them with you, because every perspective matters. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.